Hi there, my name is Rudo and I traveled to Zanzibar in March 2024. And here are a few things that I wish I had known before I traveled to Zanzibar. First thing that I wish I knew before I went to Zanzibar was to pick the right time to go. So when I went in March, and that is considered the rainy season in Zanzibar. So it tends to be quite hot and quite rainy. And although I went at the beginning of March, it was relatively fine. It didn't rain as much on my trip, but it was really, really hot, like unbearably hot. I had a great time, but I wish I had chosen a better time to go. So the best times to go to Zanzibar is between June and October. So that tends to be like their dry season. And there tends to be a lot of festivals that go on anyway in Zanzibar around that time. So if you can and if you want to go to Zanzibar in the best time when the weather's a bit more, I would say, tolerable, I would say go between June and October, because March is still really good, but it was so hot. The second thing I wish I'd known, which is related to the first point, is that I wish I had bought sunscreen with high SPF. Like I mentioned in the first point, it was really hot. The sunscreen I bought, it was 50 SPF, but I just don't think it did what it was supposed to do, because I got so sunburned. Like, I've never been sunburned before. Like, honestly, I thought, you know what, black skin, this doesn't get affected, but really it does. I promise you, I got burnt. Like, when I got back home, my skin was peeling. It was that hot. And then also, if you do decide to go in the sunnier times, that even if you do go when there's good weather, I just err on the side of caution and make sure that you carry a good sunscreen and make sure you're reapplying it all the time. The third thing on my list is transportation. So one thing I didn't realize, although Zanzibar is an island, but the problem is all the really good beaches are really far away from each other. So getting around is a little bit of a challenge. If you want to get around the island, you're going to have to make use of a taxi. And sometimes those taxis are not always easy to get. So depending on where you stay, they do offer services where they can call taxis for you. But it's very hard getting around. So just be cautious of that. If possible, actually, if you can actually rent a car. So renting a car might be really good as well. But it's also important to note that driving in Zanzibar is a sport. Like, the people drive crazy. I would say driving might be easy, but at the same time, only if you're a very confident driver. Only if you are a very confident driver would I recommend that you drive in Zanzibar. But otherwise, if you do get a taxi from like the hotel, they tend to be quite reliable and they do tend to spend the whole day with you. So you could call a taxi driver and they would pretty much be able to drive you around wherever you need to go pretty much the whole day, and you can pay like a flat fee for the day. The fourth thing that I wish I knew, actually, which is related to the third thing as well, is try and plan what you would like to see. It's actually very difficult to get around the island because everything is so spaced out. The beaches are very far apart from each other. And I would say make a plan or an itinerary of the things that you'd like to do and try and combine things in one area and do them all on one day. Because, for example, if you'd like to get from Nungwi to Paje, it could take you 2 to 3 hours just to drive from the two separate beaches. That way you don't feel rushed to go from one beach to the next, and you're kind of trying to do so many things in a short time and you're spending most of your time getting to that place instead of actually enjoying your time at that beach or location, if that makes any sense. So my next point is the main form of taking payments in Zanzibar is cash. So the money that they use in Zanzibar is actually the Tanzanian shilling, or they also take the United States dollar. It's important to know that most vendors and most restaurants and most places in Zanzibar, even in Stone Town, mostly accept cash. It's very hard to find a place, restaurant, or even some hotels that take card. So it's important before you do travel, I would say try and either get some Tanzanian shillings or some USD that you can make use of once you get to Zanzibar that you can use to spend. There is an ATM at the airport, and there's ATM in Stone Town, but they're not many. So I would say ensure you already have cash with you before you actually leave your country. That way it's easier for you once you get to Zanzibar, and you're not having too many issues trying to find an ATM to get money. And the sixth thing I wish I knew was with regards to the entry requirements when it comes to getting into Zanzibar. So depending on what country you come from, you may need either a visa or a yellow fever certificate. So make sure you check that your country, which country you're from, and whether you're going to need a certificate to enter. The last thing that I wish I'd known before going to Zanzibar was that I wish I had taken the time to find out about more things other than the beaches to do. So they have a lot more to offer in Zanzibar. So don't limit yourself to just going to the beaches or doing everything water related. Unless that's what you want to do, then obviously go ahead and live your best beach life, right? But there's so much more that Zanzibar has to offer. Overall, Zanzibar is a beautiful, beautiful island that I believe every single person should visit.